But if I lay down and I play dead and I stay dead, maybe you'll get sick of being the monster out of my head, under my bed. Think you're something out of my nightmares, standing right there. But if I lay down and I play dead and I stay dead, then will you get bored of killing me?
Silhouettes of you are like a taunt. Never really know just what you want. With you I don't ever feel calm. I can feel the sweat inside my palms. Play with me like cats and a string. You don't understand the pain it brings. You don't ever wanna give me wings. You don't ever wanna set me free. You know I'm addicted to you, and it's twisted, you've been gifted with the evil voodoo. Got me coming back for more, even when I've been screwed. Dolls full of pins, pierce my heart straight through. I got issues in my head, I like you in my bed, but you keep me on red. Oh, everything is like a test, I better not text or I'll come off desperate.
But if I lay down and I play dead and I stay dead, maybe you'll get sick of being the monster out of my head, under my bed. Think you're something out of my nightmares, standing right there. But if I lay down and I play dead and I stay dead, then will you get bored of killing me?
So if I play dead, will you regret everything that you did, that you said? I don't think you understand what you're doing, and my heart's black and blue from the bruising. I feel like when I'm with you I'm losing. I feel like you think that this amusing, sitting there gaslighting and confusing. Was it me? Is it me? Am I deluded? I'm the one who's always sorry, the conclusion, even though I offer all of the solutions. I wish you loved me like I love you, it's stupid. When I'm alone with you I never feel lucid. I wish I wasn't struck by Cupid. I wish when I first saw you I knew this. When I'm with you I feel so useless, I feel diluted, my heart's been wounded. Silhouettes of you are like a taunt. Never really know just what you want. With you I don't ever feel calm. I can feel the sweat inside my palms. Play with me like cats and a string. You don't understand the pain it brings. You don't ever wanna give me wings. You don't ever wanna set me free.
But if I lay down and I play dead and I stay dead, maybe you'll get sick of being the monster out of my head, under my bed. Think you're something out of my nightmares, standing right there. But if I lay down and I play dead and I stay dead, then will you get bored of killing me? 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 Then will you get bored of killing me?
Hello, everyone. I had to check my mic 3 times to make sure it was unmuted, and then I still muted it. But we're good now. Good morning, Steph. How are you?
Good morning. What a good song.
I love it. And it's copyright free, right?
I love it. It
bonus.
gave me chills. It was very euphoric in a way. I don't know.
I love it. I love it. Oh, goodness. So I actually pinned your comment because that was perfect. But I'm going to give everybody a content warning. We are going to be talking about P. Diddy. We are going to be talking about Quiet on Set. So it is going to get a bit heavy in here. And both of us beforehand were like, yeah, we got to be a little bit more serious, which doesn't lend well to how I act most of the time. So I am going to do my best here.
Me too. Because I laugh at everything. I rewatch your streams and I'm like, Steph, you laugh so much. So I'm really bad at like using humor in general as a coping mechanism to deal with heavy subject. So I'm going to try to be a little bit better about it. Yeah. Because it's just all very sad.
It is. It is. And there's
so eye-opening.
There's a lot that has watching these shows as we grow up, we had no idea, right? It's
right.
It's heavy. So I don't know why, Robert. I will send you a new link because I've been meaning to send Raymond one anyways. It doesn't make sense why it's not letting you moderate. But let me get these super chats real quick and we'll get into it. Punk, thank you so much. Drop by to say hi before I head to the gym soon. I will watch the replay of the stream after I get home from the gym and comic book store. Have a great stream, Tristan. Thank you, Punk. Have a great time at the gym.
Yeah, thank you, Punk. You enjoy it, so
super. Right? That's awesome. Like and super freaking healthy and being proactive. I love it.
Yeah, this is not me. I wish it was. I need to do yoga. That's what I want to do. More like meditating.
I love yoga. Yoga is my thing. That's because awesome. You also don't like, whereas like, lifting weights and stuff, like you bulk a little bit more. I'm not a bulk person. I'm like someone that likes to elongate.
Yes.
If that makes sense. And I'm just not into heavy.
There's muscle endurance and there's muscle strength. I think that's what they call it. So it's like bulking up, lifting weights and stuff, that gives you muscle. But when you do yoga or when you're even just stretching, you have endurance. You're actually gaining more stamina than anything. And like some of those videos where like rock climbers can do so much more than weightlifters because of what they're actively working their muscles, not just stagnantly working their muscles.
Yeah, definitely. Robert, I don't know why it's not letting you in there. I apologize. I'll get it fixed though after stream. I think that bothers me about the whole Nick stuff is that there are people who refuse to watch the iCarly revival because Dan's name is on it. Not like Nick can drop it legally when he's not involved. It's a cast staff passion project, but got canceled. See, I did not know that.
You want to know why I didn't watch it? Because it wasn't good.
It wasn't.
I was like, Docs, you want to try to, watch it? We'll put it on. He's like, yeah, we'll give it a try. It wasn't good. I got bored. Aww. The only person I like is Jerry Trainer. I always wanted him to get his own show.
Is he the older brother? Yeah. Yep. I like him too.
He's the best. And but it was just boring, in my opinion. It was like her, but grown up in a rainbow, in my opinion. It was still like kids television. Yeah. Wasn't great.
I'm not. See, I like the older brother. There's a lot of these shows that through this, I wasn't super familiar with.
Really?
I felt like that was not like they mentioned like the sweet life of Zach and Cody and a couple things that Zoe 101 or never seen before. But I was also at the age where I was just getting in my teenage years. So I was like wild child, right? Like yeah. Tony, I did start to. I will send you notes. I will. I like some of the changes you've made, but I have not finished it. So I will. I promise.
Cool though. That's awesome.
Yeah, he's doing very kind of quippy, quirky take on Frogman. And it's different. I had some notes for the original draft, and I think he actually I always get nervous, right? When somebody sends me a draft, I'm always a little nervous because sometimes it's hard to know how people are going to take your criticisms, even if they're constructive, if they're very close to the project. But Tony did.
Yeah, there's a lot of, you kind of can sense that. I know the people I can't be blatant with.
Yeah, I used to always ask, like I would always say, do you want me to be honest?
I love
like,
that, yeah.
Do you want honesty or do you just want pats on the back? Because like, I only do honesty. Don't send it to me if you don't want honesty.
Right, exactly. That's very cool though. I love when there's people in chat or that have their own channels that are, writing books or, starting that type of a project. I think that's like so much ambition. I wish I had it.
I know, right? I would love to write a comic book one day, but you know what? It takes talent that I'm not sure I have.
I've started to write like a book on my life because I find it interesting.
Ooh, I will totally read it. I will do your Audible for you, and it will sound like a robot. Well, we got this.
We'll do I was just going to say something really bad. I won't. I'll put you on the list, though. I just, because I write. So it's like, I can't just write like a journal entry. I have to write like I have a purpose to write. So that's how I like dissect things. I don't know. I'm weird.
No, I love it. Oh goodness. Okay, so maybe this stuff's gonna get heavy again last morning, but let's start with the P. Diddy stuff because it feels like that is the bulk of what we're gonna talk about here is gonna be quiet on set.
Okay.
And I've got some notes. There's a couple of things I even told you about. I noticed a little bit of maybe manipulation in it, but also at the same time, it could, like, I'd never want to blame someone for a malicious intent when it could have just been ignorance, right? Like, and I never want to blame somebody, especially when I want to hear people out in some of the stories that they told were horrific. Right. And oh goodness gracious. So P. Diddy is just done. Like, I don't think there's any way to argue that. I had never heard any, like, I'm not a big one for paying attention to like personal stuff when it comes to celebrities, right? I don't want to know too much about the people that I like. Like, I don't like P. Diddy, but yeah. I know people do. I never want to know too much because I'm like, that never meet your heroes things. Like, I truly believe that, but it looks like P. Diddy is definitely stepping in. Let me share my screen here.
Effed.
Yeah.
Oh God, that was a bad joke. I didn't mean to joke like that. Because he has been this has been something in Hollywood, because I do go through the conspiracy rabbit holes and everything like that. And Diddy has been a point of contention for a long time now. Just like the Quiet on the Set Nickelodeon Dan Schneider stuff has been, kind of in my back brain for a couple of years now.
And I actually do remember when he was it 2018-ish area where he got fired and everyone was like, why? What the hell is going on? So I do remember at least it getting on my radar then.
Yeah.
Maybe not paying too close of attention, but they are searching his home. And now, to my understanding, is he still on the run? Have you heard?
I haven't, but I believe he, in all sense of the word, is.
Yeah, that's kind of what I thought.
I know he was in, I know I'm going to say the wrong place. He was in somewhere hiding. When the Cassie stuff popped up, he was in Mexico.
Yes.
And I don't think he has come back.
That is wild because, from my understanding, his children are involved and quite possibly have been arrested. So they've went over 2 different properties, one in LA and one in Miami. They were searched for an ongoing sex traffic allegation and investigation. Homeland Security basically say they executed law enforcement actions as part of an ongoing investigation with instance from the HSI in LA, HSI Miami, and our local. Oh my God. Wow. Okay, so this actually, tell the Cassie stuff. That was his former wife, right?
Girlfriend. They never got
girlfriend.
Married.
Okay.
But for a long time, they were together. His former wife, Kim Porter, mysteriously died.
Yeah. What? And I didn't know that.
That's what it's been a thing, especially since Kim Porter and his close connections with Russell Simmons, who is another. I'm not in the US because things are probably gonna come out about him too pretty recently, if they already haven't. So Kim Porter was his wife. I believe that Kim and Cassie had spoke before Kim died. I really do think they were on like a watch out for this guy type list. Then she passed, very weird, unexpectedly. Wow. Something that has a lot of conspiracy theories.
Yeah.
And he made Cassie do all this type of gross stuff. There are videos of it. I mean,
oh my God. See, I didn't see that.
Great. They were what he calls freak offs. So he would have her having sex with somebody else, like kind of like in an octagon. Like,
what the fuck?
It's just terrible stuff. And then I know all the young male rappers around P. Diddy have alleged things.
Even one of his producers, in one of the lawsuits, Little Rod, I mean, I don't know, Rodney Jones, I think is his name. He said that he was harassed, drugged, and yeah.
That's so sad. There's a long line, I believe, of young men that have or will come out. I mean, Usher.
Yeah.
I believe Usher's, coming out, or something's come out about him being, groomed by P. Diddy. Let's not forget Justin Bieber.
Justin Bieber, that's what I was going to mention too. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very, very crazy. And 50 Cent's been calling this out for a long time.
Which is crazy to me. Like,
I love him.
He has no problem just being vocal about it. And I think that's really good, because this is some really sick stuff. Like, right here, another accuser said he raped her twice when she was 17.
Oh my gosh.
Like, there is so many in this investigation. And I see Samuel says he's actually now back in Miami. I wonder. Okay. Yeah, as of right now, according to TMZ, he is in Miami. There's footage of him in Miami. Oh, wow. That is his only known whereabouts. Wow. When you're P. Diddy, this is kind of the cost of fame. You can't hide.
No.
Right? Like, there's no place you can go that people wouldn't at least have an idea of who you are. And I'm sure something like this in the end would be extraditable, even if he went to another country.
Yes. 100%. There's only a few countries, I think, that wouldn't extradite him. But most would. They'd be like, we don't want this guy around.
Yeah. Yeah.
No thanks. Pass.
Like, it's just weird to me to hear he even attempted to flee, because that doesn't seem like that. Just, again, allegations, but it screams guilty to me.
I believe that as the Cassie stuff was coming up, that's when he knew much, much more was coming out. Like, I think he knew. You can't have that much power, that much money, that much fame, and not know what's coming your way.
And it looks like 50 Cent is actually doing a documentary on it.
Is he really? That would be...
Wow. I would watch it.
Like Surviving R. Kelly. I thought it was a joke, though. I heard something, and they were like, oh yeah, 50 Cent's coming out with a documentary called Diddy Do It?
Oh my God. Okay, that's a great title.
That's why I thought
that's a great title. Diddy Do It? Oh my God. That's I know it's a very serious topic here, guys, but it's incredible.
I know. It's crazy.
Oh my
50
God.
Cent's like, don't touch me, man. That picture.
You know, there's so much coming out, like the situation we're going to talk about with Quiet on Set, this situation, like, is like, I'm going to go conspiratorial here and I'm going to steal it. Where's it at? With this shit. All this shit that people have been saying for decades within the entertainment industry and people have brushed off, right? The rampant, sexual allegations, the grooming, so much of it is becoming reality.
The trafficking of it all. Like, it's just a cycle, like whether you're grooming and they become your whomever or whatever, it's all like a part of that type of stuff.
And I know a lot of this connects back to, I didn't realize, I guess I always thought P. Diddy was a little bit younger, but I know at one point he was trying to hide photos of his kid with Suge Knight and all of that too. So there could be a lot more that comes out with this, well, whether it's a documentary or something with the investigation. There's going to be so much that comes out from this.
So when it comes to, okay, when they started, it wasn't Bad Boy Records. It was whatever they started before that. I can't remember the name and it's terrible. But I did do the research. Everyone that he started his production, his very first record label with, are all mysteriously dead.
Right.
He's the only one left standing. Like, to me, that's sus. Like, that's kind of all I need to know. Because Kim Porter, she was his assistant. That's how she, started with him. I bet there are drafts or a book or something that maybe it's in Diddy's hand or 50 Cent's hands.
Yeah.
Maybe that's how the documentary's coming out. Like, we do not know, but this has been ongoing. And the R. Kelly situation really opened my eyes to the kind of racial injustice of it all.
Yeah.
That he was, bringing Black women and Black girls, sorry, they weren't women, girls, and people weren't really looking out for these girls, when it's all of a sudden, when it's like a white girl or like a Gabby Petito situation.
Right.
Everyone goes running, but it's like, no, we need to protect everybody. How do you think R. Kelly got away with this for so long? Because he knew the injustices, especially for girls, for young Black girls, all of it. So it's like kind of the same Diddy thing there. Like I always have to put that in the back of my mind because it's just terrible.
It is. And it's when did he break into the industry? I think Samuel's saying 1990. I did not realize he had been around that long. So this has been going on for 30 plus years?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Ridiculous. How has he been untouchable for so long? That's really what I want to ask.
Right. Because he has so many people help him be that way.
So many yes men?
Yeah, even worse than that.
That's terrifying, though.
I was trying to find where I saw this article because Samuel said something. And yeah, I tend to get things wrong, so I'm fine with that.
Yeah, same. If you know someone is complicit to something wrong and you do nothing regardless of personal circumstance, you are liable. I could not agree more. If somebody around him has known his kids, I mean, his, personal assistant or people that have worked in and around the area and you are letting this happen, I completely agree that you're liable.
Was it? Sorry.
No, you're totally fine.
My ADD.
We got
Jimmy
some jokers
Iovine.
showing up.
Yeah, I think it might have been Interscope that I'm thinking of, Samuel.
I honestly don't know. I was a baby. You were a baby.
Yeah, I know. I just know that there was something I was, and it's probably the conspiracies I've watched too. So allegedly,
the Duke of Sussex has also been named.
Oh, I saw something about that.
I don't think that it says Combs faces a litany of say allegations. It's said to have drawn guests to his infamous parties through the VIP association with celebrities such as famous athletes, political figures, artists, musicians, international dignitaries like royals, Prince Harry. Oof.
Oh, Harry. You were on top for a second there, my guy.
It says there is no suggestions of any wrongdoings, but he is only the only person named in this like well-known celebrities kind of catch-all.
Yeah, and you got to think that maybe there was a deal. Maybe that something fell through. Maybe it was because they were trying to rent something through his company. Like there could be layers.
Yeah. And a lot of times context is missing, but it says, they threw parties where it was attended by sex workers and underage girls. Who raised you?
That makes me so sad.
Who freaking raised you?
Satan.
Yeah, basically. He's calling it pure fiction. What if it's pure fiction? Then why did you leave the country?
And why did both of your they don't just raid homes. Like they don't just raid two of your homes at the same damn time because they have fiction on you. No, that's like Rico
especially
stuff.
Somebody with that much money and power, right?
They have to have solid stuff. And he's had a lot of lawsuits that haven't really made it into the media right now. And
it's just weird that it's not being covered, in my opinion.
Right, and some have, some haven't, but it's just like a long list right now of lawsuits, and plenty of stuff could have come out that we don't know, But you have to have a very specific reason to be raiding somebody's two mansions.
Yeah. Holy crap. Oh my goodness. This is incredible. I'm curious to see as it goes along. I really hope, like, if anything comes out of this, right? I hope the people like 50 Cent, the people that were maybe afraid to say something before, come out and say something.
Right. He goes, I did not do any of the awful things being alleged. There is actual proof and video evidence, and Cassie wouldn't have won that lawsuit if she didn't have some solid ground.
Was it settled? Is that what happened, if I remember correctly?
It was settled, yeah. And there's a whole, like, I was doing when that was going on, I've lost it in my brain, but there was a whole thing about, then people go, oh, well, she just wanted money, or she just wanted this, or she just wanted that. But like, it was pretty unprecedented the way it was settled. So it kind of screamed, I'm guilty in a way.
Right. And like, we kind of talked about this with the different situation, completely different situation. But when Joseph and I were talking about the Eric July situation, and he ended up settling with what was it? The ministry. You don't settle unless there's some sort of, I know legally sometimes it's cheaper, Personally, I would never settle unless I was guilty of something.
Yeah.
Like,
I feel the same way.
if he really was so innocent with the Cassie stuff, he should have taken it all of the way. He's got the money. Let's be real here.
Yeah, he does. And then it was just kind of like a snowball effect. More people were coming after him. And then it's like, okay, it's not fiction, buddy. It's not a money grab. It's none of that. And this poor woman had to endure your abuse. And for people to be, even, oh, she did it for the money. That's just, I mean, it's gross. And I'm just going to say, because I know that, this all goes into the Johnny Depp, Amber Heard stuff. And I do totally believe victims. And I do totally believe that they were toxic. I believe she was more toxic. But it's like when the media was spilling that about Johnny, oh, it's just a toxic relationship. That was downplaying his allegations. Yeah. We need to listen to everybody. And that is, to me, what it is at the end of the day. I try very hard not to be like, she's just a trash person. I've never been like, throw her baby in a microwave. Like, I can't believe how some people can take it. That's sad.
Incredibly too far.
Way too far. Way too far. You can just turn that part of your brain off and just never remember her if you have to.
Yeah, exactly. And I think she's pretty much done acting, so it's pretty easy. It looks like, thank you, Samuel, there has been a statement put out. He is calling it an unprecedented ambush and a witch hunt. Who does he sound like right now?
Trump.
Absolutely. It's a witch hunt.
They're after
me. It's the liberals and commies. They're coming to get me, guys.
It's a witch hunt.
Oh my God. Yesterday, there was a gross overuse of military level force as search warrants were executed at Mr. Combs' residence. There is no excuse for this excessive show of force and hostility exhibited by authorities or the way of his children and employees were treated. Mr. Combs was never detained, but spoke to and cooperated with authorities.
That's why you were out of the country?
Yeah, exactly. Despite media speculation, neither Mr. Combs nor any of his family members have been arrested. Okay. I was wondering about that. Again, the media does run with stuff, so I wasn't sure. I had thought at one point his children were arrested.
His son was cuffed. I mean,
detained.
Yes, thank you. He was detained because he was coming onto the property as the raid was happening.
Okay, then that makes sense. It says this unprecedented ambush paired with an advanced coordinated media presence leads us to a premature rush to judgment of Mr. Combs and is nothing more than a witch hunt.
Oh my goodness.
Based on meritless accusations made in civil lawsuits.
I promise you, he has Trump's team working on this.
Oh my God. It sounds literally just like it.
I've never heard anything so exact.
Oh my goodness. Robert, thank you so much. Robert said, what bothers me most is that, there are so many people who were there and saw this, but clearly couldn't do anything for fear of backlash and blacklisting. It's like the new mafia.
Aren't they junior mafia?
Yeah.
Isn't that what they call themselves?
Yeah, I could. Yeah, and I get exactly what you mean, but it is hard to. All right, we'll get into that with some of the. Drake. What is his name? I wrote it down. Drake Bell stuff. Because he kind of went through the exact same thing. The fear of retaliation, even when promised protection as a whistleblower. Yeah, it's fucked up. Reese says it's funny how Diddy being a bigger name draws attention away from Nickelodeon. While one guy was screwing over adults, the other was a bunch of dudes screwing over kids. Odd how that works. I think when it comes to Quiet on Set, there's definitely been a lot of media attention. Like that blew up last week. I was seeing it everywhere.
Yeah. It did. But you also have to think, Reese, that P. Diddy has been doing this to children as well. There was a TikTok that was dug up of a little girl he quote unquote adopted.
Oh my God. I seen that cute, adorable little blonde girl.
So cute.
That was calling him Papa Diddy.
Oh no. Ugh.
Yeah. Like my insides twisted when I heard it.
Right. And I think that it does overlap more than anything because Diddy groomed children, abused children, probably TRAFFIC children. Yeah. I'll try to be good, YouTube. I know you're not gonna like me. So it keeps going. That's why it's a cycle of abuse, and it goes right into Nickelodeon. A lot of people, I was surprised, a lot of people didn't know there were rumblings about all of this. And a lot of people, fans that follow Drake and stuff like that, they did know it was him in those court docs, know? Most people didn't, but some did. I watch a lot of influencers, especially on the Dan Schneider, Brian Peck, Jason Handy stuff, and I've been watching that just as closely as I've been watching Diddy for a few years. It's just all about what spaces you get into when you're on YouTube, and I unfortunately get into the dark ones.
You go to the dark side, so to speak?
I end up there.
The damn algorithm.
Every time I end up there, it's like, oh, I like it, like that music video showed me. All of a sudden, I'm reading comments, and I'm like, why did I do that?
And then it's shortly after. So this just seems like it's every couple months, right? Because it's shortly after the Vince McMahon stuff, which was totally disgusting.
Right.
Like it's just one after the other. And then the Quiet on Set stuff. So let's talk about that. In case you guys don't know, Quiet on Set is a documentary. It's a episodic documentary. There are 4 episodes out right now. They're all about 45 minutes each. And do you know how many are going to come out in total?
No, but I did hear there are going to be more, and this was the news to me.
Well, that's good, because they were leading into, I felt like they were leading into some of the after effects there towards the end. And
they might have more people speaking up. They might leave it open so that they can, build a bigger thing.
It looks like episode 5 does not come out till April 7th. So it's going to be a little bit, but I don't know how many is there only 5? It looks like there may only be 5. I'm trying to make sure before I say, but so far, regardless, there is 4. And this was showing the dark side, basically, of being a child star. Now, so we all know there's a dark side to being a child star in general, right? Like, not just the fact of just the simple fact of not being able to have a childhood.
Right.
Just the simple fact of not being able to grow up in high school and go to proms and homecomings and, bonfires or parties with your friends, or the simple things that robs from you is enough for me to be like, no, this should not be a thing.
It really shouldn't. Exactly. Just that aspect is hard for a child to grow into adulthood when they don't have some of the normal things we all get to enjoy. But I also
feel like a lot of times when it comes to these child stars, it is the parent trying to either live vicariously through their child, or it is something they have pushed on their child for money. Same with like, one other thing I absolutely hate is, have you ever seen like those pageants with the little girls? Oh,
and tiaras.
Yes. Oh my God. These adorable little kids are pushed into body issues and makeup and hair and perfume. Like, one of the things I don't think that should be done to kids. Just it's terrible.
It's for a specific audience, and other than the parents, that audience isn't good.
No, that is not the audience you want. Yeah.
It breaks my heart when you see those little girls with their wigs and their fake teeth, but they call them something. It makes me want to cry every time.
Wait, they put fake teeth on them?
Yeah, they're like they call them something because they use them in
like veneers.
Yeah, but it's like a.
Oh my God, I had no idea. It's
crazy. Like a plate. Yeah, it's like a plate
that can be taken on and off.
Yeah, and they just put them on and then they take them off, and they're not as crazy as dentures, Warm Lily. They're like clips, like clips for your hair or extensions for your hair. You just like clip them onto your teeth, or it's crazy. That always breaks my heart because it's like you're making sure everything about this little toddler. 4 or 5 years old looks like she's in her 20s.
Yeah. Oh, like if you want to do a pageant as an adult and you can consent to that, go for it. Get pretty, do your dance, do whatever you're gonna do, say your speeches, go for it. But when you are 5 years old, go play with your dolls.
Play in some mud, play in some
grass,
meet some
get
friends.
Dirty, have fun. Like, no. Robert, thank you so much. I want to make it clear I am not and never will defend the monstrous actions that have. Oh, I didn't think that at all. All I was saying that is unfortunate reason why it has gotten so long. Ostrich head and sand syndrome is always the biggest reason, sadly. Yeah, I didn't think you were being.
I think there's some things in chat. I think he's kind of tough.
Okay, that makes sense then.
Yeah, but that's why it's a cycle, because there are so many people that will not speak up, will not say anything, will let these people get away with terrible stuff, and that's why things need to be ended in a way that's not cycling more predators in. And that's what it is. Once one leaves, another one comes in. It's just it is. And even with the replacing of Dan Snyder, a lot of his stuff, a lot of it was gross with the adults and completely unfair to the kids. But there's somebody that's going to take that spot. Probably likely already has. Right.
And I also, so one thing weird watching this documentary is there was one mom specifically, I think the kid's name was Brian. He was the rapping fetus guy.
Yes, Brian Hearn.
Okay. Like, I feel like his mom kept, there was a lot of backlash to her because she was opening her mouth. How could you not? Like, I totally understand why she was opening her mouth.
Right. His mom's name is Tracy Brown. And she was the one that was like, I was saying things and, it ultimately hurt her relationship with her son.
Yeah.
That's devastating.
It's horrifying. Okay. So let's start at the beginning. Did you watch all that?
I loved all that.
I thought that was the show like I most knew in this documentary, because that was like when I was young, when I was that kind of demographic, I don't even know when it came out, but and I liked the, kind of the sketch comedy of it all, the funny. Like I thought, I remember Keenan and Kel. They were my favorite. I think they were everyone's favorite.
Me too. I absolutely loved them.
But that was Dan Snyder's big breakout role, our big first big production, I guess.
Yes.
So the one thing that I noticed that immediately stuck out to me was Katrina telling a little girl that she is too fat.
We already have a fat one, they said.
Yes.
What?
Literally saying we already have a fat one.
I loved Lori.
I did too.
Lori, I should know her name. But and Katrina, when she came on screen, the nostalgia for me. I saw
Oh my God.
Oh my
God. Those little
I
curls. Yes.
She was one of my favorites.
She grew up to be beautiful too.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
I was like, I didn't recognize her at all until they showed a flashback of her, and I'm like, oh, she was so funny. But yeah, she grew up to be a beautiful woman. But one thing I've noticed, and before we go into it too much, because Robert mentions Amanda Bynes, there is a clear pattern at Disney and at Nickelodeon that these child stars either end up having to be under conservatorship or a lot of them lose it, go crazy for a certain amount of time. Like you've got Britney Spears.
Mm-hmm.
You've got Miley Cyrus.
Amanda.
She did reel it back in. I feel like she's at a better place now, at least. But there for a little bit, like she was getting a little crazy, right?
Bella Thorne.
Oh, I forgot about Bella Thorne. That's a good example.
Bella Thorne, yep. I'm trying to think in my brain.
Well, Amanda Bynes, Lindsay Lohan.
There you go, yep.
Lindsay is, I think, maybe now back to a place, but it took, 30 years.
It took a long time, yeah.
Ariana Grande, did she ever go crazy?
No.
No, I don't think so.
We won't get into that.
I'm so old, I remember when she was white. I'm just saying.
She's the inclusivity, she's been all the races.
Exactly. Oh, Demi Lovato, I forgot about her.
Demi, yeah, she had a hard time there.
Mm-hmm. Jamie Lynn. I seen Samuel mention the reason that Zoe was actually canceled was because she got pregnant at 15. I did not know that.
What?
Yeah. I had no idea.
Oh, yeah, because you didn't really watch Zoe.
No, I've never seen that show. A couple of those shows were a little bit like, I was in my teenage years and way too cool for Nickelodeon. Come on now.
Yeah, there is and I think this, Loki says Miley Cyrus, it was a tactical move to escape Disney. I think most are like that. That's my opinion. Allegedly, I think they are shedding an image. Like JoJo Siwa is kind of going through it right now. They're shedding an image. It's tactical. I'm not, a Disney girl anymore. But in my opinion, the way collectively we've shit on all of them coming out, and we call them, names, and Miley Cyrus with Robin Thicke and Janet Jackson with Justin Timberlake and Britney Spears' meltdown. Me reading her book, I couldn't stop crying, putting myself in her shoes. That had to be so devastating that everybody's out to get you. Even if it is a tactical move, the way all of a sudden media makes them the bad person, that's not right.
And the way that we all look at them and go, oh, well, they've lost their fucking mind.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe at some point, some of them have. I get why you would think it was tactical. That's a good observation. But I also feel like they are so controlled for so long. Like every movement, whether it's their parents, their agents, you know, people like Dan Schneider working on that set, when they get a little taste of freedom, they may not know how to handle it.
Right. Freedom and fame all at the same time.
Yes. And what do you do as a kid? You party.
Right. And then
you didn't get to.
Right. And then dealing with the, you know, if you had trauma, if you had abuse, if you had, you know, depression, anxiety, any of that you had to keep down, and now it's bubbling up with all of this, like, it's crazy. No, it's hard for anybody to deal with all that.
I did not know either one of these.
I remember I actually recently just saw about Olivia Rodrigo, and I didn't know that. But I definitely didn't know about Jenna Ortega.
I had no idea. Is it cringy to say I like some of her songs?
Rodrigo? No, I love her.
I love it. Okay. I more than like them. I love a couple of them. Like, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, she's a vibe. She is. Like, we all,
super talented.
Very.
Like, brutal.
I need to listen to, you know, something girl powery or sad, or like, you know, this is fake. You get into those spaces, and I love her stuff. She's good.
I do too. When I get into that poppy music, I'll go to Olivia Rodrigo or something. Taylor Swift, just saying.
Taylor Swift's got some good stuff. I don't hate on many artists.
I'm usually a very hard rock girl, but I get into, like, that song I sent you the other day was so fucking good. Oh my God.
I like the end of it. It was a chaotic song though.
It was.
And I'm
that beat drop.
Right.
And I'm like, so the song I sent her was Chloe Adams' Dirty Thoughts. And I liked the song for a while, but I had just seen the music video. And this girl is dancing around in her Catholic uniform, telling her priest she gets dirty thoughts about him. And I'm like, oh, I gotta share. Share.
It was good. I love the music you send me.
And Jeanette McCurdy. I really want to read her book now. Have you had a chance to look at it?
No, but I've been wanting to, like, ever since it came out. Because I think in the whole realm of autobiographies, I know Britney's was a very quick, easy read, but Jeanette, I think, is going to be more powerful and more vocabulary driven. Just listening to how she speaks, I like her a lot, and I cannot wait to get it or purchase the audio. Whatever I need to do, I need it.
And I don't know much about her, right? I was a little old for that stage of iCarly, right? But I know enough. And the fact that she named it, what is it? I'm Glad My Mom Died?
Yeah.
Like, what a name.
Yeah. Very what do you call that? Not subjective. Oh my gosh. I can't think of the word. But that's how you know, she had to struggle with that. Like, because her mother passed away while she was doing, I think it was Sam and Cat. So she was on iCarly. She got a spinoff with Ariana Grande. Mm-hmm. And that's where you see those weird scenes of Ariana.
Oh my God. They're hard to watch.
It is. And so her mother passed. She was having a lot of issues on set with Sam and Cat, and it got canceled. And I'm pretty sure she was very happy that it got canceled. Then her too, they shit on her in the media. They really did. And so her coming out with this book on how she's coped with all that is just like, I love that, because she didn't go, you know, it's not like we saw Jeanette doing the Britney Spears or the Miley Cyrus.
Right. She went very quiet, if I remember correctly.
Yes. Yeah. And I love that. That's, you know, probably how I would do it. Just go in a hole somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah. Just look inward. It would be very hard, especially with somebody of that, like, you know, with her being famous. But holy crap.
Have to look around and be like, oh, your mom didn't do that to you? Your mom didn't, check you in the shower to make sure your mom didn't make sure you're like, you have to wrestle with that wasn't normal, Jeanette. Like,
yeah,
that's kind of how she had to deal. Like, she had such a weird, abusive mom, and it's like she had to learn that wasn't regular, you know?
And it's still got to be hard for her to see, whether it's her friends or in-laws or something like that, seeing the normalcy that she didn't have. Like even sometimes when I hear stories about other moms and, stuff like that, I'm taken back. I'm like, that's how your mom treated you? That's really nice. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, It's got to be very hard.
Yeah, and I think we all kind of go through a form of that. Not as severe as some, but it's something that I don't think a lot of people think about. Like, oh, you grew up this way. That's not normal, though. Like, there are even just the small things. It's like, oh, okay. It's a lot of people don't think of everyone's perspective, and I think I like to do that a lot.
And I think Michael has a really good point. You could go back even further to people like Julie Garland or Michael Jackson. There's been interviews where Michael has said, I did not have a childhood. I did not get to go do normal things. My whole life was work.
And being hit by his father.
Yeah. And the abuse. And honestly, like, I know a lot of like, he's a weird guy. I don't know, but like, I can understand why he, in a way, did that, like, childhood, or what was it called, like Neverland Rant. Like, he never experienced anything fun, just that idea of fun. Like, there's a lot else with Michael Jackson, but what I'm saying is you can understand why he craved that innocence of childhood, because he never ever had it.
And he thought all of a sudden he could buy it. That's sad to think. Like, he couldn't go to Disney and have fun. So all this work made it so that he could, and then when he did, that fell apart too.
I didn't know this either. MGM made Judy at 16 smoke multiple packs of cigarettes to stunt her growth. What? What?
Yep. And the benzos she was on during Wizard of Oz.
She was on benzos?
Yeah.
So,
they really messed her up. I'm a huge Judy Garland fan. My God, I love her and Liza and icons. And Shirley Temple too. I can only imagine what that beautiful little girl went through.
Oh,
like, there's one story about Shirley and her mom both went into MGM and the executives got naked. She was like a child, like 9 years
old.
Oh
my God.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Robert,
that too. Sorry. Shirley Temple was made to sit on a block of ice when she was bad.
Oh my God. What?
Yeah.
Okay, I know it was a different time back then. That doesn't excuse any of this.
No, it doesn't.
No, oh my God. Holy shit. Robert just sent me the I'm Glad My Mom Died by Jeanette McCurdy. Holy crap, I'm so excited to listen to it.
Nice.
Yay! That's awesome.
That is. Robert, you're amazing.
Robert, thank you so much. That is so cool. See, I didn't know. I don't, like, this is what I say when I separate. I not only, like, avoid the bad, that might make me look at somebody different, but I also tend to avoid stuff like this that I would have never ever known. And the stuff, let's talk about Amanda Bynes for a minute.
Yes.
So I remember I grew up on the Amanda Show. Mm-hmm. I remember thinking she was so cool. Like, she was funny. She was upbeat.
Gorgeous.
gorgeous. Like by the time she was 16, beautiful, beautiful girl.
Tall, skinny, anything
yes.
you want to be when you're that age.
But she's another one that at this point in her life has seemingly lost her wits. I don't know how else to describe it.
Still trying to cope, I think.
Yeah, I think that's a better way to put it, because right now, even some of she got a weird tattoo on her face, and like there is some also weird rumors going around. Now, I did look it up on Snopes. Not that that everything is real, but there's also rumors going around that she actually got pregnant at 13. Did you hear this one?
I did. Her fake Twitter account. I need just 2 seconds to help my father-in-law upstairs.
Okay, go ahead. You're fine. You're fine. But it was part of, I guess, they're saying it's part of what caused her to go a little crazy, saying that she got Dan Schneider had impregnated her at 13, and that there were some serious misallegation there. It looks like Snopes has said it was not true, but I mean, I don't know. After seeing that documentary, I do not know what to think. Hollywood, besides Hollywood being demonic and making a lot of poor kids lose their minds. Reese, you're not too old. I don't know a lot of them either. But I'm at least vaguely familiar with the actors and actresses from them. I'm familiar with their faces. I didn't watch a lot of TV growing up. I watched some of like the Amanda Bynes. I watched All That. Just All That. I watched a little bit of that era stuff. But by the time a lot of these shows had went on air, I was a teenager or close to being a teenager. And by that time, I was already a bad kid, right? So I wasn't worried about what was on Disney or Nickelodeon. I was out smoking pot or something like that. So I wasn't familiar with a lot of the shows. Let's take a look while we're waiting for Steph at one of these stories, because I want to wait for her to talk more in depth about the Quiet on Set stuff. But this adds to, like, can you see it? You cannot. You don't know what I'm talking about. There are new accusations. Oh, I have an updated one. Hold on. Come on, computer, you can handle it today. About another creator, a newer creator. So this was 2017 from Loud House, and I'm vaguely familiar with this show. After numerous harassment claims. How do you put in safe? How do you say it? There needs to be safety guards for these kids. There needs to be, I don't know if they were child voice actors, maybe, because, okay, he was 46. According to people within the studio, as many as a dozen women have come forward to accuse Savino of inappropriate behavior, ranging from unwanted sexual advances to threats of industry blacklisting after the end of a consensual relationship with coworkers. So it does look like these people were of age. I hate even having to say that. It does look like with this story about the Loud House, they were at least of age. So, I mean, like, that's really bad. I have to say that that's a positive thing. But there were over a dozen people saying that he was making sexual advances, blacklisting threats, stuff like that.
Oh, okay.
Oh my God. Oh, goodness gracious. Okay. Let's talk back about Quiet on Set because I wanted to wait for you for that.
Oh, thank you.
Well, I wanted to talk. There was one inconsistency that I noticed and that I wanted to mention because it was mentioned. This was the only thing I didn't like about this.
Yeah.
Was it was mentioned in a way that made it seem abnormal, and that was in the very first episode. There was two women talking about their some of the horrific things they went through. And they were writers originally on the Amanda Show. And as much as the other stuff, I do feel like the narrative was that splitting a salary isn't normal. And unfortunately, for the people working, it is. And they didn't frame it that way. And I thought that was a little misleading, but not because not most people don't know that, right? Like most people have no idea that that's something that is done in the WGA for reasons of getting your name, getting credentials, because there's standards and practices set, like certain amount you have to get, but if it's a 16-week job or something, it can be split down. Right. And that was the only thing I would really criticize this for. And you know, the random black boxes popping up, but they at least gave Dan his side, sort of.
Right.
But yeah, that was, and then there was one where she said he wanted me to work 11 weeks for free. It's a set salary for a job, not a length. And I think that's where they kind of misconstrued it a little bit. Like it's not just women that go through that.
Right.
It's a WGA thing. Like it's normal in the Guild.
Right.
It's stupid.
If you've ever went from hourly to salary,
yes,
there's a discrepancy there, regardless of your job. All of a sudden, they're going to ask you to work 70 freaking hours.
Right. But one week you could work 10 if the work's not there. Right. Like, so it's very rare. I'm just saying it could happen.
Right.
But it is completely different when it comes to splitting portions in the WDA or WGA.
Right. Right. I'm reading Cosman's.
Yep. That's what I was just bringing up.
Nice.
Wait, were they only given third portions? I thought they said they got half.
I thought they said that too.
Mm-hmm.
But now I have to look it up.
And that was the only thing I did, like I said, I could really criticize because they kind of made it seem like, well, it's because we're the women. Like, why'd we only get half a salary? Like, yeah, it's unfortunately, it's normal. Even with the newer negotiations, it's normal.
And then, because we were talking about it, I believe there's a lot of gray areas here.
I do too.
Because if there's a team and there are set rules on splitting portions of salaries, there obviously has to be set things. So it's like, I do think it was meant to get us more riled up.
Right.
Than it should have. Some of the other things that lady Strat and Christy didn't want to talk about were the more horrendous things.
So Dan would make them, like, to start that conversation, Dan would make them just randomly yell out. They could make them yell out things like slut or something like that. Make them ask for massages. And that became normal in his practice. And then she had to pitch her idea while somebody act like they were sodomizing her.
It's so gross. It's so gross.
Can you imagine how degrading that is?
How, like, as myself, like, yeah, you're a writer, you're green, you have to, do what you're told, but just like imagine yourself in that room watching that. Like, I literally, and it's just, I don't know how I would react in that situation. I've would want to get up, say you're gross, and walk out.
And quit and never ever come back.
Never come back, because that's miles over the line. Comedy is one thing, dark comedy is another, but doing that is power, control, and abuse.
It is, and it's meant to degrade. Mm-hmm. It's meant to show what you will take and be able to get away with. It is meant to humiliate, and that's what they did to her. Like, nobody should have to pitch a fucking show other than sitting down and pitching the show.
Exactly. Did they make the male writers do that?
Like, did she stand behind him? And yeah, that's what I mean. Like,
right, yeah. Like, I mean, oh my God, it breaks my heart. That's so.
It does, because it. You know, she went home and she thought about it for days, if not weeks, if not longer, on maybe her next show. She thought about it, and the fact that she felt, she told him multiple times, no, I am not going to pitch it this way, and he basically forced her.
Yeah. And then think about you getting into a night. That's your first real experience, and then you get into another writer's room. The trauma you have to have still from being, you know, told to do that. Like, I'm sure she never wanted to speak again.
Or she goes into the next one and it's completely normal and goes, oh my God, this was so fucked up back then. Like, it's something that she's never, ever going to forget. That level of humiliation, you don't forget.
No.
It completely unacceptable. Like, I know, like, so we're talking late 90s, late 90s, early 2000s. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. It was a different time. Doesn't matter. No employee should ever be treated that way.
No, not at all. Definitely does not matter.
Okay, this is a good point too. Did you notice no male creator spoke about anything? Well, that's not true.
There was, I got his name right here somewhere. And I don't know about this guy. He was a director. Virgil Fabian.
And everybody liked him, and he wouldn't, like, they all felt lost when he was gone.
Yeah, right, exactly. And he said Mark Summers, he made a quick little appearance there.
Yeah. So there were a couple males, like a lot of it was predominantly female, and that may have, you know, been with the narrative that they were going in regards to how they wanted to shape their documentary. But there were a few male creators in there. And I think
writers. There should have been male writers. I'll say that.
Yeah. I definitely think that would have helped. But you also, again, going to that gray area, are they still working? Do they still want to continue to get work? Do they want to have their voice out there and be known as somebody that might be hard to work with? Right? Like, as much as it sucks, there is a gray area there. Okay, he was talking about people in the room. Okay, I got you.
And the relentless nature of the internet, I'm sure we are going to see those writers, like the male writers that were in that room. Like, the internet will find everybody who did and didn't speak.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like, the internet's just so ruthless about it. So I'm sure you could probably look it up and see what they say, if they're quiet, like all that type of stuff.
Well, and I do think there will likely be some stories, and there probably already has been, stories of people that have worked in and around and have come out and told their horror story. Like, there's going to be, usually people are afraid to speak up. Sometimes when one person comes out, they feel a little bit more brave and they're able to talk. And there's also NDAs and stuff, I'm sure, involved to some degree, maybe not back then.
Yes.
But hopefully the people in that room I don't know, probably didn't stand up for it then. Maybe now. Better late than never, I suppose.
In Jeanette's book, I know that she had written about they're offering me $300,000 to basically sign an NDA and never speak about it, never write about it, anything like that. I know there's a partner book about that. And so I think Josh Peck is another one. I maybe Ned's Declassified. But all I know is that a lot of those actors and kid actors and actresses did have to sign NDAs or were offered hush money or something like that has happened.
Did you happen to see I don't know what show it was from, but there was a clip of somebody that went live on TikTok and he was saying like, get back in your hole and hide your holes.
Ned's Declassified.
Is that what it was?
Yep, it's Devon something, Worcestershire. I don't know. That's my best guess.
Worcestershire.
Yeah, Daniel Cook and Lindsay Shaw. Lindsay Shaw has said terrible racist things. She's cried and been the quote unquote victim. They have a podcast under Christy Carson Romano, another person who has victim blamed and shamed. So, and then it's a rabbit hole, but yeah, that was ridiculous. Then they spoke out about it. They didn't really apologize. A great creator to watch. I'm telling everybody this because I love her to death. She was on Zoe 101, Alexa Nichols, and she protests against what she calls Sickelodian. She protests against all of them. Like, this girl is out there. She's in the freaking streets doing the work. And
what's her name? I want to write it down.
Alexa Nicholas.
It's kind of an awesome name.
She is. I really love her. She's an emotional person. She's been through a lot of stuff. Mm-hmm. I could go on and on about her. But I do not like the Ned's Declassified cast. I think classless. Even Drake Bell was like Ned's unclassless or something like that. That was not the time, and they didn't even watch the documentary. They didn't even watch
it. They didn't watch it but judged it.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay.
So they are classless.
Yeah, classless is a good way to put it. What did you think about the way that the Black actors and actresses were treated on set?
I think it's terrible. I did write, like, I just, you go back and watch some of these clips, and I was even watching some All That stuff, and I was like just cringing at it. I know that, like, Dan Schneider, I think, was like, oh, well, I put Keenan and Kel out there. How can I be like a racist guy? And it's like, but you can see a lot of the skits that these kids were in. It was
like the drug dealing one.
It wasn't right. What about the dog and the peanut butter?
Oh my God. Okay, I wrote down what that show was called. On Air Dare.
Dare, yep.
I had never heard of it. But first off, Fear Factor for kids sounds like a really bad idea. That should be an immediate red flag.
Yeah. Yep.
They had peanut butter all over him and had a dog lick it off. What point do you look at a child and go, we're putting them through way too much?
Yeah. That was the most overtly sexual thing I think I saw in a lot of what they were showing. Like, there are no two ways about it. Like, he can be like, oh, Penelope taint. I mean, it's like tainted. But
yes,
the peanut butter and the dog is such an overtly, like, sexual joke. Like, come on. Ugh.
There were some that they mentioned, like that one, that I think they kind of stretched it on, like Amanda being in bed praying. I didn't think there was anything overtly sexual about that. Like, but that dog one, and just some of the stuff they had them do on Air Dare, the one person was putting like a scorpion in their mouth.
They're children. Like,
children.
like, what? I as an adult wouldn't even make another adult do that. Like, that's you can do a kid fear factor, but it's got to be geared to what kids could be comfortable with. And scorpions and worms and bugs and peanut butter and dogs, all of those things do not fit acceptable for kids, because they had Double Dare.
That's what I was gonna say. When I think of something for kids like that, I think of Double Dare. I thought that was the entertaining for what it was. It was fun. They did neat things and questions. Like, that one I never got the creeps from. But looking at that on-air dare looks like torture.
Yes. Oh, because I hadn't heard that show either. And once I saw that, I couldn't, like, I beyond cringed when I was watching those parts of it.
Double Dare was awesome. I loved that. Hello, Villainous Queen of Hearts. Cosmin says Dan tried to defend himself by saying, well, I cast the first black kids in every episode or something like that. Yeah, like with Kenan and Kel. Like, but there was two specific three, but there was mostly the two. Having the kid act like he was selling cookies as a drug dealer, really freaking weird. Really weird. And then the rapping fetus.
I hated that. I hated every second of that. And let's not forget the when he was the superhero with the
with the giant nose.
Yeah, and them on his shoulders, and they definitely did not look like noses.
They look like dick and balls. Let's be real here.
Yeah. Just putting that kid in those scenarios is, number one, just racist. The rapping fetus and the cookies. Come on. Like, why couldn't any of the other cast members have done those, but the rapping fetus was like, I didn't even remember that. I was like, that's just wrong on every single level.
Like, that was super weird. Like, the tightest bodysuit ever. Like, you're making a child very uncomfortable about their growing body, for what?
Yeah.
And the fact that you were typecasting for a black character being very stereotypical about it, like, you knew what you were doing. Let's not pretend. Bye, Tevia.
Bye, Tevia. Didn't they say something about about his skin tone?
Yeah, they called it charcoal.
Oh my God.
And he said he wanted to cry, but he knew that his mom would get upset. And that was the one with the mom that kind of, I wouldn't even say bugged. She stood up for her child. That's how I look at it.
Yeah, I do too.
Because the normal parent should. A normal parent should. Absolutely. And then, okay, we got to talk about the different child predators too.
Yes.
This not only happened once, this happened multiple times. And the first one was Jason Handy.
Mm-hmm.
And he was caught with, okay. Now, I did not recognize the one girl. She was 11. She basically started on the show. And then, to my understanding, at least what I got from the show, was that she quit because Jason had emailed her pictures of him masturbating.
So I think she was an extra, and then after her stint on,
you're right.
Yeah, she was keeping a relationship online with him, and they were just letters and stuff. And all of a sudden, the mom came in. She was crying, and it was him touching himself. He sent it to her.
So my first question, two things. I'm looking at her as a bad mom and a good mom. First off, she got her daughter out of it. Good for her, right? When it comes to child acting. But why was she not calling the police immediately?
Exactly. And we also have to think, the mother, her mother, so the grandmother was in show business. And the mother knew that show business was terrible from what the grandmother said.
Right.
I would never go back into it. So number one, you should take that. You should take that and keep it in your heart. But no, what she wanted to do was put her kid out there. And so I don't want to ever call anybody a bad mother. I don't judge that way. But yes, as soon as she should have at least warned the police, this man is messaging my daughter. That should have been like that. That's just number one. I didn't have internet as a kid because my mom was so worried about that. Like I didn't go into chat rooms. I wasn't online until I was in college.
See, I was a little bit, but not to a degree. Like I didn't know what YouTube was until I was in my 20s and da. But she said she struggled to call the police. By Cosman, how do you struggle to call the fucking police when a grown-ass man sends your 11-year-old daughter messages saying, I'm thinking about you, and touching himself?
Yeah, I don't. I wouldn't. There's no struggle in my mind. Call me a bad mom. Do whatever you got to do to me. Make sure my kid's safe.
Yep.
But that's my opinion.
You call the police immediately. Immediately.
Yeah.
And it was not until she was actually contacted by the police did she decide to do anything.
Right.
I'm sorry.
So you're telling me you maybe could have stopped this perpetual abuse, but you
could have stopped it. He was in all that. Like they showed him in different moments where he was actually on the TV, like in the background, but still he was interacting daily with those people.
He was the one. I remember seeing, like, when they showed his face, I was like, I remember seeing him as a kid being like, that's a weird face. Like, he always, like, his eyes were, like...
He had that creep face.
Very.
I don't know how I can't even sympathize with someone struggling to call the police. Like, there's no second thought in my mind. That would be the first thing I did.
Yeah. I agree.
I am glad that she had decided to work with the police about the situation when they looked into it. Like, that she did a good job with that. I'm not saying that, but you fucked up.
Yeah.
And then I wonder, her daughter now is grown, right? And her daughter looking back going, why didn't my mom do that?
Right. And we haven't seen her, like, I think a lot of people are wondering, is Brandy still around? Did something happen to her? Because I couldn't find her on anywhere, just the mom. So, like, that's another layer in it.
Oh, see, I didn't know that. I was just glad to hear that it looked like she had gotten out of acting. At least that's how they made it seem. Yeah. Which is, I'm all for that. Keep kids away.
Me too.
No, keep them away. But he ended up getting caught. Now he was working around the All That crew. He would go in, and one of the other girls would say he would pray with them. He would do Bible study with them. He had full access. He was a PA.
Yes.
Full access to these children.
Yeah. Yeah, Giovanni Samuels, she was saying, like, she had a note from him.
Yes. In, like, a yearbook type book. Like,
Cast yearbook.
If something else had happened on that set, again, going back to that mom, because it makes me instantly pissed. Like, I feel like there's a little bit of liability there.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he was end up caught with what? Just thousands thousands of child porn documents.
Yep.
And had a journal that talked about children and about the want to rape.
Openly admitting of his deviancy. Like, openly journaling about it. Oh.
I don't know. Like, I know when you go to any normal type of job, and again, we're talking about years ago, but when you go to any normal type of job, I don't care if you're just going to, work at Walmart. I'm sure they run a background check. Any job that I've ever had has run a background check. They do, basically a whole workup on you.
Right.
Have you ever been arrested? Are you on this? Are you on, like, you're going to get that. Why would Nickelodeon not have that?
So I think it was in one of the episodes where it said that Jason Handy specifically was freelance. And they had to change their rules, I believe, after him because they didn't do background checks on freelance workers.
Oh, see, and I know they said with Brian Peck, he did not have a previous criminal history.
Mm-hmm.
So there was no signs.
Worked on so much stuff, like tons of stuff, growing pains, a bunch of things.
There was a video of him with Leonardo DiCaprio.
Yep.
That made me super uncomfortable. You're a grown-ass man. Get your hands off that little boy. And, okay, so we're going to go into the Brian Peck stuff, which involves Drake Bell. But I just want to say, Drake Bell's dad broke my heart.
Just thinking about it makes me want to cry.
Like, he really, truly, like, I give shit to parents that allow their kids in this business, but he really truly seemed like he had his child's interest above everything. Like, it started as something fun they could do after the divorce.
Yeah.
And he over and over again was trying to protect him, and he really seemed like he was doing like a better job than any other parent on that show.
Yeah.
And I thought he was great. Like, I really, really thought he was great out of everyone. But this brings us to Brian Peck, and he was a acting coach, right?
The acting coach and dialogue coach. I also looked into him very thoroughly. He's also been a producer. He also has been a quote unquote actor himself because he was, he did guest spots on all that. He was Pickle Boy and random stuff
Pickle
like
Boy.
that. But I think that he was hired there as the dialogue and acting coach.
And he had worked with a lot of big names.
Yes.
And honestly, like, without, like, somebody can give you the creeps. There's a lot of times, like, I'm sure your womanly intuition has given you, like, the creep vibe before, right?
Yes. Oh, yes.
And even if you're wrong about that person, you at least know to put your guard up. And that's what Drake Bell's dad did immediately. Like, immediately knew that there was something off about Brian Peck.
Mm-hmm.
Biggest red flag, the John Wayne Gacy stuff.
Oh my God. That stunned me. I was like, what do you mean he's his pen pal?
He had John Wayne Gacy did a self-portrait, signed it over to Brian. He displayed it with, like, pride. And was John Wayne Gacy's pen pal. They were good friends.
What other sign do you need?
Like, if that doesn't scream red flag, I don't know what's going to.
They were pen pals up until
and he was proud of it.
Very. very. Raymond goes, wait, what? You guys did you not get this far? No, he didn't.
No. Yeah, pen pals with a serial killer.
Not just a serial killer that targeted young boys and did things to them.
Yep.
Like, that is the red flags to end all red flags.
Like, the only way I could even justify that is if like he was working with the police and they said get on his good side and get some, you know what I'm saying? Like a weird entrapment situation. I could see something like that. Right. But this wasn't that. This was like, this guy's my friend and he drew me a picture and I'm going to show it off to a bunch of 10, 11, 12-year-old kids. How cool is this? This child murderer just gave it to me.
In the middle of my room that has like Planet of the Apes themes.
Yeah, like I was offended at first. He's like, he's a weird guy. He had like a whole bunch of comic books and I was like, wait, where are we going with this? You think comic books are weird? And then I was like, oh yeah, super weird.
Took a hard left.
Yeah, like I was not expecting that. Like he had Star Wars and Planet of the Apes stuff. I'm like, not weird. Not weird. Right? Oh yeah. Yeah.
But the John Wayne Gacy stuff, that's where I'd be noping right out. I'd take my kid and walk out the door.
But that again, and I know I'm going to keep going back to this. Why didn't these parents do that? Right. Is your child being in Nickelodeon show really worth that?
Exactly. It's unfortunate that it's so driven not by the safety of your child. You know, I know every parent is different. And again, I think Drake Bell's father was on Brian Hearn's mom, where speaking out and putting your foot down is what you have to do for your kids.
Yeah, absolutely.
But then there are the parents that are like, look at this check.
Yep. And then they will use their children so they have a stable income, don't have to do anything again, or living vicariously through them, which is just as wrong, right? I don't understand it. But the Drake Bell situation goes deep with Brian Peck because Brian was like beyond a predator. He was very cold and calculated with how he treated Drake Bell. But first off, I have a question before we talk about that. To my understanding, it was not known it was Drake Bell until this documentary.
Yes. A lot of people if you've been in this community for a little while, which I have been, had their suspicions that it was Drake Bell because it was no secret that they were very close. So, but he has never, ever, ever come out before.
He never fully admitted to it. And because he was a minor, those records were sealed.
Yes.
And they have been unsealed now. And he has talked about it. And it was hard to watch him talk about it. You could tell how uncomfortable he was, but also by trying to put on a brave face.
Yeah. And you could tell that it was like I was empathizing and really feeling for him. And I could also see, I think he was trying to manipulate his emotions. Like when he would smile and stuff, I think that's some type of coping mechanism for him. You know, like how I use laughter and stuff. But you could really tell if you watched his body that like, when you're putting your hands to the side or when you're like, rocking back and forth, he was definitely uncomfortable saying anything about it.
And he didn't go into a lot of detail. There was enough detail known, but it started off with Drake Bell. His father was his manager. He really got the creeps by this guy. Didn't like him putting his hands on his child. Didn't let him alone with him. And then that's where the manipulation began because he started putting a wedge. He started trying to kind of subjugate him from anybody that would protect him, and successfully.
Yes.
What really irritates me is I know that dad blames himself when he was the only like you could just see the emotion and the sheer hurt in his eyes, and he blames himself when he was the one that was there for him. He was the one that tried so hard. And the mother, I don't know anything about Drake Bell's mother, to be fair.
Yeah.
But she willingly, after being warned, after being made his new manager, and he didn't see his dad anymore, let him go with this man everywhere.
Yeah. Sleep at his house.
Sleeping at this man's home.
Go to Disneyland with him and his, I'm guessing, adult friends.
Yeah, that's what it made it sound like. He would show up at Drake's concerts.
Yep.
Like kid concerts like this.
Follow him around. Like,
to the
what?
Yeah, like, okay, he would make it as an excuse. Oh, I live closer to this in this interview, so stay at my house tonight and I'll take you. The mom was so damn, I don't want to say lazy, but like
nonchalant.
She was just like, cool, buddy, do that. Like, just stay at this grown man's house, even though my ex-husband told me not to let him do this. I'm gonna do it anyway, and you can sleep over any night you want.
Oh my god. Just here's all the access to my young child who doesn't know much about this world other than he wants to be a star.
Yeah. And he was already sort of one at that point because it was during like when it started. So he was already starting to gain momentum and popularity. But yeah, Robert's right. Drake's mom is basically the typical Hollywood mom.
Mm-hmm.
And the dad was the exception to the rule. Mm-hmm. And that caused a lot. Sexual assault to varying degrees. I think the way he described it was, picture the worst thing that somebody could do to somebody in bed. And that's what he did to a child. That's what he did to a child.
And then they showed some of the court documents saying foreign objects. Like what? Like I was so upset by that, and then I was so upset by the father being like, I knew that man would do that to somebody. I'm so glad it wasn't you.
Yeah, because he didn't tell him at first, and he was like, the relief. It went from relief to horror when he found out it was his son.
Broke my. I'm sitting there. That's what I think. That's when I was like, Tris, you have to watch this.
It was hard to watch, and I wish I could say it was surprising, but it's really not. Even the little shit I went through, it is shocking, but it's also you hear horror stories, whether it's there are a lot of people like I can't remember the guy's name that came out. Is it Edward Furlong? It's somebody like that.
Furlong is one of them. There's also the Coreys.
Okay, yep, that's who I'm thinking.
Is it Corey Feldman? And that's another cycle of abuse, because I'll just preface that with he's been an abusive person as well. But Corey Haim was that suicide, I believe. A lot of these kid actors, the little girl from Poltergeist, like I've heard some things that, because she died suddenly, and she was in the care of big Hollywood executives when she died.
Oh my god!
And I'll just say that it was.
I did not know that.
Her parents were not there. Yeah, I've seen some like almost like blind items, like allegedly this happened type stuff. But it's very sad and very, very sick. And I'm glad that it is being talked about. It needs to end.
This, I hope, opens a lot of people's eyes. I don't know that it will everyone, because they're like, I'm very much so, I obviously listen to women, right? But I do think in some situations there are people that have seen people like Johnny Depp or Mattress Girl or these people that have made false accusations, and they get very jaded.
Yeah.
They get very jaded to a degree where they won't even listen to victims. And I'm not one of those people that's like, believe all women. I'm like, listen to all women, right? Because I do think there's been a fair amount of false claims, but don't let that jade your judgment.
Right.
P. Diddy is innocent. All false claims. Okay, Soulja Boy. We totally believe you, Winky. But yes. So they were unsealed. And what actually shocked me is when they went to court, when they finally went to that stage. Well, first off, I know why. I know why everything was kept sealed for so long. I understand it. But there were people, he said that court side was filled with supporters for him, for Brian, not for Drake.
Yeah.
And that's sad, but what made it even worse was the letters.
Yes.
People like James Marsden?
Mm-hmm. I have a list somewhere. Of course I do. I thought I did. Get your stuff together, Steph. Well, I know there was James Marsden, Taryn Killiam, Will Friedle, Writer Strong. Let's see.
That one guy from that one TV dad.
Alan Thicke. There we go.
Yep.
Alan Thicke, James Marsden, Ron Melendez, who apparently is a big actor. I don't know him though.
Yeah, I didn't. I was glad they showed faces with names. I'll be perfectly honest with you.
Exactly. Also, I believe that there were, well, I don't know about Nickelodeon execs. I know Dan Schneider wasn't there.
He did not. And he actually, to all the other stuff we've talked about with Dan Schneider, he did know and ask what he needed as far as help.
Yes. But also for nobody to have known it was Drake, I'm guessing Dan Schneider had and obviously knew it was him from the beginning. So then are you telling me you knew Peck was, like that's where my mind goes.
Yep. I didn't even think about that. But yeah, you're absolutely right. Did you have an idea and not intervene? Did you just ignore and hope the situation went away? Also, there's one thing I wanted to mention in this story that I found incredibly wonderful and disheartening at the same time, because the way that the situation sort of started to take light was Drake Bell was at his girlfriend's home.
Yeah.
And he had kept calling. Brian Peck kept calling and calling and calling, wanting him to go to Disney World with him, and just wouldn't stop. And the girlfriend's mother was the one who raised the idea of something going on. Do you realize that's sweet from the mother, the girlfriend's mother's side? She's looking out for him. But that shows me that not even the mother noticed the changes in her son.
Right. Or did anything. Because that girlfriend's mother, I mean, it took her a very limited amount of time to be like, this older man shouldn't be calling you like that. Like,
yes.
What do you need? What do you?
How did the mother not notice though? That's what I mean. Like, how did it take nearly I don't know how long they had been dating or anything, but I mean, a complete stranger, a stranger to your son, to take notice of the situation.
Yeah.
That's so messed up. It's so messed up. And Samuel said before the docuseries premiere, Strong and Friedel had went on record why they wrote letters again before the premiere. And I do know one, actually, it may have been one of these two, had came out and said they were given completely wrong information to the letter.
Yeah.
And they would have never wrote it. So there were people that have since, been like, no, I didn't know I wrote that letter because I was asked to, and I worked with them and my experience was different. But there were people that were like, sorry. Yeah.
Joanna, the mother from Growing Pains. But Alan Thicke, if you look into Alan Thicke as well, he married basically, I think, like, I don't know how old they were, but it's not a good look on Alan Thicke. It isn't. Yeah. And I know that the Boy Meets World cast said all of that. But when you hear a story from somebody, there's two ways of going about it. Figuring it out for yourself or just staying silent. Mm-hmm. So you didn't have to support Ryan Peck. And that's where I come in. Like Danny Masterson's letters of support. You know,
yeah.
I think they had, a lot of whatever you call that, blackmail on them. And that's why a lot of people wrote in support of Danny Masterson. But it takes a little to just not support. I still will side-eye them. And I know that they've come out and all of that, but was it an apology or was it a excuse?
Exactly. Like was it Mila Kunis and Ashton Kutcher?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, well, I wrote a letter. He didn't write me, so, I'll write a letter. No. That's not how. That's just not how it works. In retrospect, Strong said he was making a plea deal and admitting one thing, which is all he admitted to us. But it looks like he was being charged with a series of crime, which we did not know.
Okay.
So, okay. I mean, at least like everyone, every single one of us are human. We're all going to make mistakes. That is totally understandable if they did not know. I did not know Alan Thicke died.
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah, about, I think, 5 years ago.
Okay. So he doesn't even have the chance to take it back. But even so, like, James Marsden, I remember him from so many things, and the guy from Boy Meets World. Those were the two I was like, really?
Yeah.
Like, he was always the cute boy in Boy Meets World, remember?
Oh, yeah. I had a crush on Ryder Strong. The biggest. And it hurt my heart when I saw that. It did.
Yeah. Same with James Marsden. I like just maybe so disappointed in Cyclops. Right?
Right.
Friggin' Cyclops. But basically, now that it is out, have you seen, I know you're a little more active on TikTok. Have you seen how people are handling it?
Like quiet on set in general?
No, I just mean, like, are people finally realizing? Like, what I've seen is mostly a lot of support.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. A lot of support. Also, there are the people that are like, well, Drake Bell also did this stuff. Don't forget that. And it's like, well, I always answer that with, it's a cycle of abuse. It is. And sometimes, unfortunately, these child stars don't even get to make it to their teen years because
No.
they've been so abused. You know, I mean, it's like, it's all, there's so much sadness in this. But yeah, my TikToks all in support of, you know, the people speaking out on Quiet on Set. And I also have a myself, if I can find it, a little list here about some of the other people coming out. Jerry Trainer and Nathan Kress, both actors on iCarly, have unfollowed Nickelodeon, have completely cut ties with Nickelodeon. Love them for that. Michael Bauer, who was on Salute Your Shorts, he's come out saying things, supporting Jack Salvatore. He was on Zoe 101, and he also, you know, came out in support. And so you see a lot of people rallying, and I absolutely love that.
That is awesome. And what is crazy to me is his final sentence was only 16 months.
I know. Like, what do you... And that's why support letters are so detrimental.
Yes.
That's how I feel about it.
Like, 16 months for a lifetime of trauma, PTSD, and anxiety.
And then let's not forget Disney hired him not long after.
I was just gonna... How... Hold on. After his 16 months in jail?
How long after? I have no idea.
No, I'm just saying it was after, right?
Yes, it was. Oh, yes.
How?
Once he had, and he was registered on the offenders list too. So they hired him knowing.
Well, honestly, speechless. That was a show about two little boys, right?
Mm-hmm. That's
what I thought. How do you allow that to happen in a show, first off, Disney in general, right? A small show about children. How do you allow that to happen? You're supposed to be about entertaining children, and be like, Disney's whole brand is about kids, and you allow a predator on the set.
So I did a little bit of research myself, and this has to do with Disney parks as well. And so you got to think of these people being physically around children. There are about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 people that worked at Disney parks with children that are on the offenders list now.
Wait, currently?
They don't work there currently, but that's how many people. It was a big article. I think.
Oh my God!
And it was like around 7. I have all their names. 7 people that were registered offenders working at the parks, and then, you know, either were arrested or investigated, whatever the case may be, and now they're not working there, and they might be in jail.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So Disney, do better.
Like, don't hire people on the registry. Come on now. Like, I understand Samuel says it was the Carols and they were friends. No excuse. Like, no excuse whatsoever.
No.
And then shortly after the Drake Bell situation, I hope I say I don't even care if I say his name right. Izell Chandel?
Something like that.
Yeah, was also caught on those shows. So 3.
Mm-hmm. It's ridiculous.
It's mind-boggling what these kids throw. And it reminds me of the little girl that worked on E.T. Do you remember her?
Drew
Barrymore. Yeah. She would talk about being 13 and doing coke and all the abuse that, like.
Yep. She was in rehab at like 14 years old.
Yeah. It's wild to me. One thing I want to talk about, though, because it was the last big subject of it, was the sexualization.
Oh, God, yeah. Oh, my God. Yep.
Like, I guess I again, I didn't really watch those shows because it was really iCarly, Sam, and
Cat.
And
Victorious.
then Victorious, and that girl's gorgeous.
Yes,
a beautiful girl. A lot
Zoe
of really weird
too.
stuff. Wait, what'd you say?
I said Zoe 101 as well. It was like, if you kind of look at them in a whole, it started like, I don't think all that Kenan and Kel, those shows that we kind of grew up on, yeah, they had bad jokes. They weren't that tasteful, and that's where, he started pushing the line. But after those shows, it got so much worse. If you watch clips of Victorious, you would be like, what? I mean, Victorious was probably the biggest problem.
Right. There were some iCarly ones too, though.
Yes, the feet.
Oh my God, the feet. Who has a feet fetish? Somebody has a feet fetish on that set.
iCarly had the most feet stuff. And then there's those clips of Ariana Grande like biting at her feet or whatever. And
yeah.
Just
like sucking on her own toes almost.
Yep.
And then like they called it the cum shot once, where they would like make it look like a bunch of stuff squirted on their face, or Ariana went upside down and put a bunch of water on her face while she really suggestive for a child show, suggestive for an adult show. Adults would clearly get it, but way too over the top for a kid's show.
Yes, exactly. And then Dan was like, oh, well, everything had to be run through executives. So number one, you're excusing your jokes. Number two, are you telling me that the executives are just as bad as you then? Because that's all I hear.
Yeah, I feel
like predators.
We have safeguards. Nope. Then your safeguards need to be checked because they're letting it happen.
Yep. Exactly. You're all getting a laugh out of it. Even the executives don't even lie. Like, come on.
Did you notice the weird, like, when they were doing the all that, like the pickle thing looked like a glory hole, like he was putting it through the glory hole?
That made me so uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, the peanut butter, there were some that I was just like, oh my gosh, like these are just come on. Why do you have a hole in your door like that? Is that
and then you're sticking your pickle through it? Come on now. Stop it. That was not on accident.
I like to Pickle Boy hurts and teases pickles.
Yeah,
really?
Yeah.
Gross, guys.
Like those girls that went, and I don't think so. I don't know exactly how old they were, but they were old enough to know. Like, yeah. And old enough to know they couldn't say anything either, because they, it was mentioned quite a few times that you were not allowed to complain about that kind of stuff.
Right. Warm Lily, I'll just say this quick. There was a terrible joke, and they put peanut butter all over this kid and had dogs lick it. And I know you're such a sweet, innocent person, but that's a terrible, terrible, terrible sexualized joke. And I just wanted to point that out because she was asking.
Wait, what is this? Victoria's had an episode where fish eat at... Wait, hold on. Fish eat at feet to free them of...
Calluses. Like the hard spots on your feet.
Yeah, okay. I would say the one that disturbed me even more than the weird feet shit was Ariana putting water all over. Like, it literally made it look like a cum shot.
That was just so bad.
In a kid show, a cum shot.
You could see she was uncomfortable with it. Like, you could just see in that clip she wasn't, it wasn't all fun and carefree. Like, even as a kid, she probably knew that this is not right.
Well, I wonder, because I never really watched that show, but like, did she play the dumb girl? Was that her character?
Usually, yes. And in
I
Saint
wondered.
Cat, yes, I think it was. But also in Victorious, she played the I don't know anything type of girl.
Oh, I did see this one too, where she was in her two-piece bikini and they're all like shooting water at her at point blank range. Like, and then the one with Amanda in a bathing suit with him in his clothes, with Dan in his clothes right next to her in the hot tub.
Yep. Yeah. That, come on. And then like almost like inserting his I'm the creator of
like he's our god.
Uh
It's so cringy because it's like such a power thing. Like, oh, it's so fucking weird. Even after investigations or safeguards, this stuff was allowed through. Again, in a child show, it's different if you do a little joke like that in a, How I Met Your Mother type show or something. You know what I'm saying? Like, but you're allowing this to go through.
Yeah, I think a lot of things are going to be put under a microscope now, which isn't. I mean, I know that people don't like that, but when it involves kids, it's not a bad thing.
When it involves children, yeah, absolutely. And I don't know, like, I know Dan Schneider after that did like Henry Danger, and there was another show that they mentioned. I don't know if there was any issues with that one, but it seemingly was always with the young pretty girls.
Yeah. I took a screenshot of a show that Brian Peck produced called The Willies.
What?
Yeah, and it's a harmless backyard campout becomes an unforgettable night of chills and thrills for three young boys as they share their favorite scary stories, and it's called The Willies. And I just was kind of grossed out by that. Let me send it.
The Willies. Mm-hmm. Like, I get that saying it gives me the willies or something like that, but like,
looking at it now though,
yeah, like everything needs to be looked at under a microscope. Like, I don't even care at this point because these are children.
Right. Exactly. I'm trying to see. There was cameras. Disney has. Oh, okay. Yeah, I did a bunch of Disney screenshots because I was just looking like, okay, we're learning about Nickelodeon, but I know Disney's a problem too.
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely.
When you look at like movies like Shrek and they have little bits of adult jokes, think of the adults going to the movies with their kids.
Right.
So maybe some of those jokes are okay. I think maybe some of them aren't as well, but like all that Nickelodeon, that was our time, at least when I was a kid. It's not like we had internet to sit down, watch our show, and it's for kids. It's not like, oh yeah, your parents gonna be there watching. No, it's like me and my sister used to sit down, watch it, and and that was our time, So like when you're doing jokes like that and your audience is all kids, like you just can't do the cum shot jokes, the peanut butter, the dog.
You can't.
Like the adults aren't sitting to watch that with their kids. They just aren't. They're doing other things, getting housework done or whatever.
Here's the thing, like, but you can do like funny, silly things that only adults will get that aren't sexual, right? Like, you don't have to go to that length of depravity in a kid's situation. Like, there is, like, I am completely 100% for artistic creation, right? I want artists and producers and executives to be able to make their vision. The only time I sway from something like that is when it comes to kids, because it gets to a point where it becomes the Ariana Grande come shot stuff. Like, it just gets to a point where you can't allow that. I want, even when it comes to, like, X-Men 97 and these kind of things got a little bit of controversy, but they got to see their shit through, right? Like, that's what I like to see. Again, we're talking about adult stuff. Okay, wait, hold on. That may have been a bad example. I'm going to use Invincible instead, because I watched X-Men growing up.
Yeah.
And that I could see how that could be considered definitely a kid show, but Invincible, there we go. That's a better example.
Yeah.
Like Warm Lily said, this isn't MTV, this is Nickelodeon.
Yes.
Exactly. This is Disney. Good morning, Serge.
To push the envelope, like that should kind of be the last thing when it comes to kids. You want to, have them sit down and reading freaking Rainbow. You got to see kids talking about their books and learning things, and you got to see LeVar talking and engaging.
Oh, yes, it was so
even
good.
Blue's Clues. I wasn't a child watching Blue's Clues, but I still watched it. It was on. He was soothing. Yeah, I know that's for younger kids, but that's your audience.
Right.
You can't be like, ooh, I'm going to squeeze a potato. Come on. I know
the potato.
Still.
And the one girl that was in, I believe it was called the Zoe 101, she said basically her character transitioned into a character that was just there for the boys. That was just there to have crushes on the boys and be eye candy.
She is the one I was telling you to watch, Alexa Nichols.
Oh, is that her?
Yes. I love her. But yeah, that was her character.
I get you can be pretty, but you can also be smart. You can, like, there's a pattern of that type of character within Disney and Nickelodeon, like the girl on Victorious that Ariana played, like the dumb girl, right? Like that. I don't know.
The airhead who is doing everything for the boys. Usually the girls that are doing it for the boys are the airheads.
You know what? I'll give you a good example of when that works. And nobody cringe. Shut up. Have you ever seen Teen Wolf?
No.
Okay. There is a character named Lydia on there, and she's your typical Regina George, right? But not really, because this is what she thinks boys want. She thinks boys want the dumb and the da-da-da-da-da. She's the eye candy. She's really fucking smart, like one of the smartest characters. And she goes through a transition period where she has to realize that that's important. That's her. And she just doesn't need to be the eye candy and stuff like that. And that actually, I love that, because when I was growing up, it was always similar, right? You could never be smarter or better than the boys. You had to dumb yourself down. I even notice myself doing it to this day because it's so ingrained in me.
It sucks that it is. And I understand that just from the aspect of the things I like to do. I'm not trying to be a pick-me here, but like I like to ride. It's not easy being a woman and being like, oh, this is wrong on your bike, you should do this, and never having a guy to you. And I'm like, I work on computers too, right? Like I've always had that need to be where maybe it's going to be harder for me, but like I've had customers come in and want to talk to my boss because
oh, absolutely,
I am who I am. And sometimes he'll be like, she's the hardware engineer, like talk to her, not me, while you're talking to me, and I appreciate that. But it does, like, I've just dismissed it so much that it sucks, because I do like to speak up and be like, well, I'm going to be the one taking the parts out anyway. So
this is like
you.
Like, this is what I'm kick ass at. Shut the fuck up and sit down. Stop it. No, I totally get it. And it is a habit that I've had since I was very young, and that was ingrained into me. And I'll notice and I'll have to stop myself, right? Like, I'm not fucking stupid. Don't act like it. And that's, and Serge says, ooh, Teen Wolf, but I'll let you cook this time. I said you weren't allowed to cringe. I said you weren't allowed to cringe. But it's a good example of how they flip that trope on its head and kind of subvert your expectation of the dumb girl.
Yeah. I was trying to think, because there's one in my mind, but I can't like vocalize it, because there are a couple examples of when they can do that correctly.
C Movie Studio says, my only criticism on the doc is why didn't they go more into shaming Brian Peck, because his evil definitely overdoes Dan's, and I agree. But the only thing I can say to defend it would be, you could already tell how uncomfortable Drake Bell was. I don't think they maybe wanted to stretch it out and make him even worse in that situation.
Yeah.
You don't want him to feel like you're disrespecting his story either. So I get it. He was definitely the most evil in that situation, in the whole documentary.
Yes.
Like,
and there are more they could have gone into. There were more evils that they could have. That's why I actually do hope they do more.
Yeah, because they didn't really cover the Azelt Chandler handle situation as much as the other ones. So I feel like there are, and that's why I'm going to listen to that story Robert sent earlier by Jeanette McCurdy. Yeah. And because I know she didn't show up to his Lifetime Achievement Award. She had already had enough. She was done with the situation. I want to hear what happened.
Yeah, me too. I know I've been very in support of her and her book. I just haven't had a chance to get it, and that's awesome. I can't wait for you to tell me about it.
I'm gonna be like, oh my god, and this happened, and this happened. Another 2 chapters, I'm gonna be like, and this happened.
I'll be like on the edge of my seat. When's the next DM?
Oh my god, that's so funny.
Oh man.
We'll save this for next time. There's a good story about the disturbing secret that Samuel sent behind the iconic cartoon Ren and Stimpy. But this is a little bit of a longer read, so that'll definitely be something we have to take note of and take a listen to, because that predates the Dan Snyder stuff. So he wasn't even the first in this whole situation to be going off and stuff like that. But I think we're going to wrap up. Robert said it's a great listen. Definitely cannot wait.
Yeah, that's going to be awesome. Yeah, there's a whole Ren and Stimpy Cow and Chicken Cartoon Network rabbit hole as well.
And why doesn't that surprise me?
Yeah. Exactly.
It doesn't in the slightest, and that's the sad reality of it, is I don't think many people,
even Powerpuff Girls.
I know.
I know. It's sad.
It is sad. Oh, goodness gracious. All right, we are going to wrap up. Thank you for listening to our opinions on this terrifying situation.
Yes. All our support to everyone in that documentary. Everybody
absolutely
that wasn't in that documentary. Everyone deserves a listen. And we love you. And it is a very serious topic. Thanks, everybody in chat.
I think we did pretty good with keeping the tone decent and not making too many jokes. I'm like, I gotta tone it down. And I think we did pretty good.
I do too. Yay us for being serious.
Yay. Right? This is it, guys. This is the only time you're gonna have it. We will be drunk on Jackbox. That's going to happen, and we will not be serious.
Exactly. But we also won't joke about this stuff.
Exactly. See, we can handle our shit. We're grown-ass adults.
Look at us being adults.
I know, right? I'm so proud of us right now. That's so funny. All right, guys. Thank you so much, and we will see you next time. Thank you, Steph.
Thank you, love. Have a good day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.
I can do, I feel